Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another Reader's Magnet featured author interview. My name is Mark, and I am your host for today. And together with me is one of the Reader's Magnet featured authors that is here with us to share his journey as an author and share more about his book. We have Jack Tymann. Hi, Jack. How are you today?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing really well.
Thank you so much for attending our interview today, Jack. We are so happy to have you here. And to be honest with you, I'm really excited to have this interview with you because when I saw your book synopsis, I really got interested with your book. And I'm really can't wait to, talk more about the book. But before all of that, Jack, kindly introduce yourself first.
Sure, I'm Jack Tymann, the author of Adam and Dowland and several other books. I'm married to the love of my life. We have four married children, 12 grandchildren, and one great grandchild. So I'm a little older than the average author that might do an interview, guys. I'm a retired executive, CEO, and president of Westinghouse International. I'm a retired politician. I served as consigliere in the U.S. Congress, and um, that's pretty much all I have to say right now. Let's get into the interview.
Wow. Wow. I'm basically talking to a Superman right now. I got really pressured of your background, Jack. Given that you're a CEO and a politician at the same time. Oh my God. Okay, and now you turned into a novel writer, novel writer.
Yep.
Now, I'm really intrigued of your book, Adam in Dowland. Can you please give us the initial inspiration of writing this novel.
Oh, sure. I wrote Adam and my other books for that matter, as a way of giving back to share some of the valuable lessons I've learned on my life journey. I'm inspired also by authors who have preceded me, particularly those of fantasy fiction.
Mhm.
Inspired by unique experiences I've had in 75 countries around the world in my corporate role and my political role, and by the many people, hundreds of people I met in the course of that journey. And I'm inspired by what I call angels who always come into my life when I most need them and least expect them. And of course, I'm inspired by my family, my friends, and everyone who has touched my soul in so many ways.
Wow, wow, that's really interesting, Jack. Because from your background, being a CEO and a politician, and turning into the transition of being a novelist, it's really interesting. Because sometimes people like those find writing something as they like they can't find time to create even write a book, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like it's really interesting of having this type of transition from you, Jack. Now I want to know, how about a more specific private purpose of this book? What's if there any
Oh,
if
oh,
anything?
Mark, I kind of had to write this book. It's a calling. I was compelled to write this
Hmm.
and the other books. It's going to be a key part of my legacy. And I really want to share some wisdom that I've gained. And at my age, I can dare use the word wisdom. You can't. But bottom line, um, my purpose is I want to touch others who might benefit from some of the things I've learned. And Mark, if I just touch one single life with my books, I'll be fulfilled.
By the way, Jack, you did told us about the inspiration of this book. Can you please tell us what the book is all about?
Yeah, it's actually, you might say, my memoirs masquerading as fantasy fiction, a
Mm-hmm.
thousand years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I chose fiction so that I might reach a broader audience and maybe have some readers who, particularly those who like fantasy, discover
Mm-hmm.
themselves in some of my characters. So it's my unique story. It's embellished as is permissible in fantasy fiction. You're not allowed to do that in nonfiction. And I hope what I've written is entertaining, inspirational, educational, all at the same time.
So, why are you the one to tell this story, and why in fiction, Jack?
Well, I'm the only one that can tell the story because it's really my story, and fiction rather than nonfiction. Because I think by telling my story in an entertaining way,
Hmm.
it'll grab more people, reach more people than if I perhaps wrote an autobiography or something like that.
Okay, okay. Now, what differences do you see between a writer? This is so just so we can actually get the difference. What do you think is the difference between a
Well,
writer and a author, Jack?
well let me answer that, Mark, if I could, by distinguish between writers of nonfiction and authors of fantasy. That's, I think, a clearer way of answering that question.
Mm-hmm.
Nonfiction writers, they write in a straightforward, informative
Mm-hmm.
way. They
Mm-hmm.
focus on accuracy and precision and clarity.
Mm-hmm.
I place in that kind of category journalists and essayists and speech writers and
Mm-hmm.
historians, certainly. But authors of fiction, uh, they write a different way. They delve into fantasy and they use creativity and imagination, and they introduce epic quests and magic and strange characters and alternative realities. That's what I do, and it's a lot of fun doing that, inventing my
Mm-hmm.
own characters and settings and plot lines. And as a fantasy writer, author, I want my readers to connect personally with my characters and find
Mm-hmm.
meaning beyond the literal words. So that's
Mm,
that's
I
the,
get it.
that's the difference.
Yeah, so basically writers refers more about, noveling or no, I'm sorry. I
No,
mean
no,
blogging and things like that, maybe
yeah,
news as well. And
yeah,
then author focuses more about storytelling and characters and diverse fantasy and things
exactly,
like that. All right,
exactly.
all right. I get you. I get you, Jack. Now, how long have you been writing this book, Jack?
Well, you might not believe this, but it's been a 3 decade long labor of love, a little more. I first
Oh
put
wow.
pen to paper in 1987 on a writer's retreat when I wrote an outline for Adam. And then my life took over, my family, my career
Mm-hmm,
responsibilities. So I kind of kicked the book to the back burner. And then in 2020, just a few years back, I wrote my first chapter. I approached an author friend of mine and asked her for help to maybe review what I've written. She gave me some encouragement and she steered me on to Writer's Digest and
mm-hmm,
places like All Author and a number of
mm-hmm,
books on writing and a number of seminars
mm-hmm,
and classes. And I hired a developmental editor for 15 months, and she helped me with. I'd never written a novel, so she helped me with structure and character development and dialogue and things like that, and pace. And then after 9 beta reads and 2 drafts, I signed on with a new coach who became my co-author,
mm-hmm.
Aisha Abdul Ghaffar, and she guided me masterfully to the finish line.
Okay, wow, that's really interesting, Jack. Because anyway, Jack, given the fact that you're again, you have this big background, a CEO and a politician, I'm really wondering how you made extra time for you to write a book
Well,
or a novel.
I couldn't, Mark, I could never have done it while I was working or in politics. It's an
Mm-hmm.
arduous, demanding task.
Mm-hmm.
But after retirement, I had the time to write 4 or 5 hours a week, 6 or 7 days,
Oh.
6 or 7 days a week, and to lock myself into a library or social room and away from all distractions. And I don't think any writer should start a book unless they're willing to put in that kind of time and effort.
Exactly. Commit to this passion, you
Absolutely,
know what I'm saying.
absolutely, Mark. Yeah.
So given the fact that you're a first timer as a novelist, Jack, what personally is your first experience as a novelist? I mean, what's something that you learned personally as a
Oh,
novelist?
oh my God! I didn't expect this, Mark, but it's been like a new journey of self discovery. I've revisited memories and engaged in introspection and emotions and pivotal points in my life, and I've
Mm-hmm.
discovered more about myself in writing than I could have ever imagined. I
Mm-hmm.
have a deeper understanding of my motivation, my fears, desires, accomplishment, everything. So I really am blessed, and I feel very grateful to have gone through this experience.
Okay, Jack. Given the fact that the book is about your story, okay, and then it turned into fiction, are you planning to like create more sequels for this book or a
Oh yes,
trilogy?
not only
Trilogy?
sequels, not only sequels. I'm engaged in. a screenwriting for a TV series that will go on for 3 years, for one
Oh,
for each of
wow.
my books. So beyond
Mhm.
Adam, I've well along writing my second book, Homeland Rescued, where Adam and Tariana, they guide the leaders of warring nations to discover and focus on common goals rather than on differences and squabbles that are really tearing them apart. And then my third book is called, in the trilogy, I have a trilogy,
Mhm.
it's called Never Forgotten, and it's going to be the most awe-inspiring, inspirational, uplifting book ever written about end of life, as Tariana and Adam deal with the scourges of Alzheimer's disease, and
Oh.
they choose gratitude over suffering, and reach out to others as role models.
Okay, just for our viewers that is watching right now, Adam and Tariana are actually the protagonists of the story, correct, Jack?
That's correct. They're husband and wife.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, I have one last question for you, Jack.
Sure. Anything.
Is your book advocating any specific cause or agenda, or is there any overall message or theme that
Well,
you
yeah.
want to convey?
There's several interlaced themes, and if you'll permit me, Mark, I'd just like to share with share with the viewers some of the key quotes in
Mhm.
my book that I use. Is only a few, and they're what guided me and what I hope to guide my readers. First, in my first book, I talk about I offer something that I borrowed from Robert F. Kennedy. Some
Mhm.
people see things as they are and ask why. You've all met people like that, right, Mark?
For sure.
I
I
dream
did.
dreams that never were and ask why not. And then I took something from Elon Musk. When something is important, just do it, even if the odds are stacked against you. And I already talked about focusing on common goals that unite rather than differences. And then in book three, which is about the scourges of Alzheimer's and end of life, I say, let faith, hope, and love drive away any fears you have and despair and suffering. And finally, the overarching themes in all my book is something I've learned, and I hope all the leaders of the world someday will learn. We are all different, and we are all the same.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much for those inputs, Jack. And we're so excited or very, very interested of your book trilogy, actually. And I can't wait to have that book on my hand and be able to see and
Here
read
it
those books.
is.
There you go. There's the book. I was about to ask you to show your book on
Yeah.
screen and then invite everyone to buy a copy of your book.
Oh, please buy my book, and more importantly, write a review of my book. I need reviews.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Jack. We really
Oh no,
enjoyed your
I thank you. I thank you, Mark, for a wonderful interview. Thank you so
we
much.
really enjoyed having you right now, and we are really looking forward to have more interview with you soon.
Sure.
Now, again, that's again, guys. This is Jack Tymann, the author of the book Adam in Dowland, and the book is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and I think in other retail stores on online. And or you can visit his website, that is www.adamandowland.com. Again, thank you so much, Jack. Really, really appreciate your time with us right now.
Thanks so
Again,
much, Mark. Great being with you.
thank you so much, Jack. Again, as we say it here at Readers Magnet, we share your story with the word. Goodbye, Jack.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much.